from us to help them develop their programs. They're all SMEs, all run by entrepreneurs. And this mission is an entrepreneur's mission, and the idea is that we get three things kind of going. We get a cohort of UK robotics companies who hadn't really interacted that much before, so they now got a bond sharing ideas. We then engage with, we chose Silicon Valley out of three candidate locations. Japan was a candidate because of their strong industrial automation, Boston, Pittsburgh type cluster, and then Silicon Valley. And we chose Silicon Valley for the obvious reasons of a strong robotics centre here, an open ethos in terms of working, a collaborative approach, and also the funding. So what we're trying to help the guys do is understand about the power of collaboration, open innovation, sharing ideas, that a competitor may not be a competitor, it may actually be a provider of complementary technology, provide a pipeline of customers for them and stakeholders, and also get them to understand, learn some lessons from the funding process over here to help them when they go back to raise money, if they need to, back in the UK, and feed it through. So far we've had 5 fantastic days. This is our last gig, so we're all kind of really excited about this one. We've met people from UCSD, Qualcomm Lab, SRI, through to AnyBot, the 15-man companies, and I think we've learned a tremendous amount in terms of how robotics is being commercialised through the convergence of sensor technology, 3D printing, CAD design, the sourcing globally of components, but the integration locally here, us in the UK to learn. So it's been fantastic from that perspective. So with that, I'm going to pick on somebody. I'm going to pick on Rich from Shadow Robot to kick off the pitching. And yeah, thanks for hosting. Really appreciate the opportunity to come and talk to you.
Good afternoon. We've spent the last nearly 2 decades building hands for robots. Why are we doing it? Well, if you want to use a robot in the real world, you need to interact with objects. Almost all the objects that we have in the world, the ergonomics, dynamics are all shaped for the human hand. So when we want to take robots off the production line, do other tasks in industrial automation, or put in a packing house, working through handling fruit and getting it ready for the market, we have humans doing that. All over the world, thousands, millions of people who spend their days picking things up and putting it down. So we've spent 15, 16 years building robot hands. We have some of the most advanced manipulator technology in the world. We have a team who have the experience building and developing that. We've identified some initial markets. Fruit packing and handling is one of them, where we have the dexterity and sensitivity to not damage great or top fruit. Globally, immense market, 25% of the cost of fruit into the fruit grower is post-harvest packing house, getting it stock up, bringing it down. Other areas we're looking at include, again, industrial automation, tier 1 automotive suppliers, big robot welding cell, very important, spends all day picking things up, putting it into the welding cell, and taking it back out again, and putting it back into production here. That's a job that we can automate with this new manipulation technology we'll be developing. We've got a current gone to market with it, we're selling robot hardware to universities all over the world and to the research community. They're developing a lot of our technology for us. We've got on top of Ross, and we're looking for being built to find new markets and to scale our current push. So I booked them from Shadow Robot Company. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Yeah, one factor. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Okay.
Thank you.
Some slides from Reach Robotics. We create new generation of entertainment products for the future engineers and scientists. Techie geeks and makers love robots. People are spending, north of $500 million every year watching movies like Transformers because it captures their imagination. And then when they're done and they want to build robots and play with robots, the only option they have are plastic toys or kids. What we've created is basically Pokemon in real life. These are robots that battle each other. The more you play with them, the more they level up. And you can buy physical items that augment the gaming process and virtual items that change how the robot performs in the gaming scenario. We make money by selling the robots, selling the physical item and selling the virtual items, and then through a franchise model as well. So you can either buy the physical item from us or design your own robots and share that, but it's not going to work on the robot unless you buy a connection for it. The unique thing about products, so there are two unique things that I mentioned later. We're going to be using the world's first HD plastic display technology. So it's been developed by a company called Robotics and HP, did the Packard spin out. And secondly, our work is research backed. So Dr. Seth Giddens, who's a lead play researcher, all of his work is feeding into how we're developing this product. So it's very consumer, end user centric. And so my background is I'm a legged robotics expert. So I've been doing robots for 4 years, and I can show you videos of some of the beautiful creatures I've built. I've got a team of 6 people, so 2 mechanical manufacturing engineers that have more than 30 years experience in the industry. I have a gaming app developer, 2 product designers, and a robotics PhD student working on this project. What we're looking for is partnership in manufacturing, supply chain, and investment. So it'd be great to talk to you guys at the end of all this.
Hi. Have you ever tried to swat a fly? It's not easy, because flies can move really, really fast and they've got really high reaction speeds. And what enables them to do that is they have high frequency flapping wings. It makes them very, very responsive. My name is Glenn Smith, I'm CEO and co-founder of Maple Group. And what we've done is create the first practical flapping wing UAV in the planet. Okay, so we've solved some really, really hard physics problems to do what we need to do for that. We've invented and patented an engine that can power these flapping rings at very, very high frequencies, also with really high efficiency. But also we nearly innovate around carbon fiber and using cutting-edge materials, cutting-edge material processing, or NDAs and working partnerships in place with some of the advanced 3D printed metal companies, so we're going to use 3D printed titanium on board. It's pretty cool. You can actually get it at the right scale in a production-ready part. It doesn't cost too much when you're very small. The benefits that this all brings to us is the fact that these things can operate in the real world. High frequency flapping wings mean you can deal with gusty environments. You can put your camera in the place where you need it to be. And we've seen over the last few years a lot of interest in UAVs in general. There are a lot of bigger format UAVs. Interesting, can carry a big heavy camera and a payload, but they're pretty dangerous over urban environments. We've seen the general trend that as the UAVs have got smaller, the market for them has gone up, and the use cases have gone up exponentially. So we believe that trend will continue. We believe as they get smaller, there's going to be many more use cases for very small UAVs, either all local or working in conjunction together in a sponsor fashion. We are a small team pulling this together. I have a background. Originally a manufacturing engineer, but then I sold my soul to investment banking for about 15 years. I ran global derivative businesses for UBS and Barclays Capital. But through that, we built big e-commerce systems as well, and I ran big e-commerce teams. Since leaving investment banking, I actually had a successful startup exit already. We sold a company to Yammer shortly before Microsoft bought them a couple of years ago, so it's a nice exit timing for us. My co-founder, who's the main inventor and brains behind our product, had a previous startup company where he was a manufacturing experience in Taiwan, so he's got manufacturing experience in global distribution techniques. We also have a really strong advisory team. We've Professor Paul Crowther, one of the leading experts in small UAVs in the UK. He's been part of our board. We were born in Cunningham. I spent 15 years out here in the States. He's now back in the UK, but he had experience with Boeing, and he set up a consultancy around research for aerospace engineering. Did a lot of work with government contracts and that sort of like. Dr. Paul Zanelli is a very interesting guy in the UK, experienced startup guy. He's exited the company, was part of a VC with Advent, and then we went to run the Advanced Technology Centre for BAE in the UK. The final guy is Jamil Ahmad, really great guy. He did the computational fluid dynamics for the Eurofighter for the Airbus A380. So like really one of the leading experts in aerodynamics. So those guys are all contributing in their development program, and we're working closely with them. We believe the markets for this are really substantial. There's a lot of verticals we could look and address. Some interesting data just out a few weeks ago for the first responder market here in the States for police and fire services. We believe that market's going to be worth $7.5 billion over the next 5 years, compound annual growth rate of about 41%. So that's just one indicator, and there's as you can imagine, we think we generally are building a platform that's going to be applicable to a lot of different things in the small size scale. I think a lot of people look at UAV investments and think hardware is pretty hard to invest in, because a lot of small motors, etc., coming from China, there's not much margin in that stuff, and it's a lot of people out here in the Valley are focusing software services around that, which makes sense. I agree with that philosophy. But actually, I think we've got a core piece of hardware, we've got a core secret, part of the secret sauce that's going to be able to make really small UAVs at scale really efficiently and at a good cost basis as well. So we think what we've got our hands on is really, really interesting. We're out here in the Valley, we're interested in the robotics community, etc., but we're also looking to do this venture right now. We've put $1 million into this in the last 3.5 years to de-risk it a lot of things. We've done some really hard yards with like a small team, but now we're ready to expand. We're looking to take on another team of like 4 or 5 engineers and bring this product to market in the next 2 years. So we're looking to raise about between $3 and $5 million at the moment in our Series A. Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Hi, Nick Tudor from De-Risk, a little firm in Malvern. Team of about 9 of us altogether. We produce automated software verification and validation tools. And the reason we doing that is because the cost of verification is huge for systems and software. And of course, things that go into the right-hand side of the development life cycle is where you find all the errors. So wouldn't it be great if we could find out where the errors are going to be in things like requirements and design on the left-hand side of the life cycle instead of discovering them when it's all got very expensive. And similarly, when we put it into code, we want to know the code actually does what we wanted to do. So we've done some automated formal proof, so we actually prove that the design satisfies the requirements rather than have to test for it, and we can therefore show things like we have behavior that we don't want to have. And if we can show that that is present in the design, then all of a sudden you can show that the robot that was on the system is safe. Then we can also code that and automatically prove that. So the access to this is typically the use of formal methods is through academia. We've just met some guys out in SRI, those kind of people do that sort of thing, NASA and those sort of guys. But and they tend therefore to be proprietary methods. So what we've done is hidden them behind commonly used tools like SysML and the MATLAB suite of tools. So that's available to a huge market, and we can just bolt the robustness underneath it without anybody having to have a specialist experience. So it doesn't just apply to robotics, it applies to aerospace. We're working in automotive with, well, I'm going to say this right, Jaguar. So I say Jaguar, but Jaguar, you get that, yeah? So Land Rover, those kind of guys, and various other automotive companies. And it applies to medical devices, it applies to rail, space, and security. So you need to show that the nefarious people in the world can't get access to the system, whatever it happens to be. And similarly, it applies to banking, financial systems. So show that upgrades to banking systems, which are all very shabby, if we're going to do a change to it, does it actually affect the behaviour of the system? So it's a very large market we can go to. We've shown that we can save for embedded systems like in aerospace, we can save for the software development aspects alone, that's between 30 and 50% of the costs. And for the systems integration, it's anything up to 80%. That depends on the basis of where you start, obviously. And it meets the regulations. So we're working with civil aviation in the UK, showing them what we're doing. In fact, I had to cancel a meeting with them on Monday because the weather's better out here, quite frankly. It's pouring with rain in the UK. So I thought I'd come here instead. So that meeting's now on the 8th of July. We've got a seminar to talk them through how we do this and why we meet the regulation that exists already, rather than to write new regulation for things like unmanned air systems. So that's great, but the regulation sorted out, that's the safety aspects, the costs sorted out, and we've got the access to the market, which is huge sorted out as well. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. My name is Harry, and my company is called Agility. I'm a new startup. I've only been going for a few months, and I'm based in a technology incubator at the Bristol Robotics Lab, which is the UK's largest research facility for robotics. And this year they've created their first incubator, so I'm there with 6 companies. And I've been growing quickly since I've arrived there. And my first products are based on build your own robot kits, and I'm building that off the Raspberry Pi mini computer. There's 2.5 million Raspberry Pis out in the world, and the proposition I'm giving is to turn a Raspberry Pi into a fully functional robot. So I've got one product which is just launched on Kickstarter, so that's live at the moment. It's doing quite well. But that's a very basic robot. It's really the simplest way you can turn a Raspberry Pi into a robot. And the kind of target market for that is likely to be education, home education. It teaches the basics about robotics, and it also draws lines and follows lines. And there's a real spirit of fun and engagement intended for the class. So we develop content as well, things like lesson plans and online resources. So part of my product development also is on a more capable robot, which is called the PiBot. And since I developed the first prototypes, I've had significant demand for that, and I'm well connected with the community in England and globally actually. So I've got 1,000 people at least who are interested to purchase the product. So far I've got good, solid working prototypes, but I'm going to spend another few weeks to basically get it till I'm ready. I have a background in parametric modelling and architectural design, and I want it to look fantastic as well as functional. So I'm taking the time to do that. I'm also out here in the States looking for collaboration, and I think I'm very well rooted into the community in Bristol. So I've got a great network of engineers, software developers, and all kinds of people who can do things well. And I'm wanting to find collaborators in the Bay Area, so I can basically ramp up my capabilities. So with the 2 time zones, I think we could develop things much more quickly and get to market quickly as well. So I'm probably a bit early for venture capital, but hopefully my Kickstarters will do well, and soon I'll be in a position to take the investment. So.
Hello, I'm called Sebastian Conran, and I run a product design development outfit called Sebastian Conran Associates. It's a 12-man team, and we have good connections with Britain's leading universities, and what we're focused on is unlocking the IP in the universities and creating compelling consumer products from them. And we've got 2 projects that robotics projects we're working on at the moment. One, particularly, it's like a smart table. It comes when you call. It will position itself over your bed. It will go to the kitchen. It can navigate its way around the home, and that's at proof of concept phase. And then we've got another product which is due to launch in September, which is a small companion pet robot. I've overseen the design of literally thousands of consumer products, ranging from kitchenwares. I used to be head of design at Mothercare and designed 12 baby buggies, for instance. And our ability to actually take basic science and turn it into consumer products is our key thing at the moment. We've designed over 250 products in the last 4 years. Many of them you can see in Williams-Sonoma, West Elm. They're lifestyle products. Because we've got a lifestyle focus, and that's what makes us special in the technology and design field, is that we don't come up with geeky looking products. We come up with products which will appeal to people on a lifestyle basis. So 2 things I'm looking for. I'm looking to meet some of the people that you're putting your funds into and seeing how I can make their products better, designing them better, giving them more market appeal. And I've also got an order for 20,000 of these over bed tables if I can get them out at $3,000. I need to go to Shenzhen and find someone to manufacture it and fund this. But there are over 3.5 million hospital beds in US and Europe, and they all need tables. So I'm Sebastian Conran at sebastianconran.com, and I'll leave it at that. If you've got any questions? Great.
So I think that's the two companies who have contributed early. Well, a quick overview. One was Qbot, which is a robot to automatically insulate cavities in homes, sort of built environment, which is a surprisingly huge market actually, a big problem. So that's Qbot, and Agilic, who were a UAV, Robotics, who are an UAV company. So I guess it falls up to questions.
Anyways, let's see if we have an answer. So actually, we had one panelist who couldn't make it. Melanie Wise from Unbound Robotics called me and said she had important things to do, like build a company. No, basically, she had a last-minute emergency that she had to take care of, and I told her to stay at home because I think that's more important than coming here to do a panel. But Nikhil from Shasta Ventures is going to do the moderation, but really it's going to be more of a discussion. He has a set of questions to kind of walk through. But if anything's provocative at all throughout the discussion, feel free to chime in if you have any questions. I mean, we're really here to make ourselves available for you to ask questions. So with that, let's get started.
Let's do it. Yeah, so I'm Nikhil, as Roger said. I'm at Shasta Ventures. We focus on Series A investing. Kind of three big areas for us.
You want to see where it is?
Three big areas for us are consumer, enterprise, and connected devices. So we're the first investor in a company called Nest, for example. I've done a number of things in and around hardware, and made a couple of robotics investments recently. But I think the first thing, and also I grew up in the UK, as born in Oxford, so like-minded group. We've been contemplating a number of important questions over the last 5 days, such as why is the US doing better in the World Cup than England is? Why don't we quickly go around and have each of these guys introduce themselves, and we'll go from there. Eric, you want to start?
Hi, I'm Eric Klein. I'm a partner at Lemnos Labs. We're an early stage hardware fund and incubator based here in San Francisco. We've invested in over 20 hardware companies. All we do is hardware. And to your point, I have a permanent home in the Valley of Death. That's exactly where we live. So literally the companies that come to our incubator are typically 2 to 4 early stage founders with a duct tape prototype who want to change the world relative to hardware. Sometimes we have a little bigger company. That's actually one of the companies that is currently at Lemnos. So I think you're a week old though, so you can tell the new experience. So definitely want to meet this gentleman before it's over. But my background, I've been building consumer hardware primarily for the last 20 years. I always like to joke just by my age, I played volleyball with Bill G when we started Microsoft. I was an early guy at Apple. Mid-stage Palm. More recently, I ran all of a big chunk of Nokia's R&D. An interesting thing, before I joined Lemnos, I was one of the earliest employees at a little game company called Bungie, a little company, and at night I'm a toy maker, and this was not the exact idea, but very close to an idea I was working on before I found the only thing in the universe that was more important than it. So I worked with that idea.
So I'm Blair Silverberg, and I'm with DFJ, which is a venture fund here in South Middle Park. And we invest in all sorts of areas. We've been around for 30 years, and so in that time, it's given us a lot of time to invest in different sectors and different spaces. And so, some famous investments are Skype and Baidu in the early days, and then more recently, we're early investors in Tesla, SpaceX, and obviously Elon Musk, family companies, and a number of other blocks, for example. But one thing, pertinent to this one is rethink robotics, which but one thing we focus on is looking for sectoral trends. So when some sort of technology hasn't yet proliferated into a market, it's continually before we try to identify those shifts. And so we'll jump around for markets that are very different and look like that. Really is technology X hasn't yet come into commercial building design and construction. Wealth of opportunities in there, that area of technology X. So that's kind of like business. But we're having a great panel and share some briefing experiences or generally sectoral issues.
I'm Roger Chen. I'm from Robotics Ventures. Thanks for being on today. I guess you can think of us as edge investors. We're going to invest in costs in a number of categories of technologies, from consumer apps to robotics to satellites to healthcare. I think what really gets our attention is something that's off the beaten path away from the mainstream. It usually gets our eyes. Something that's tech-driven. It's something that just embodies the hacker maker spirit. And I think a lot of carries over from the O'Reilly Media DNA. We have close ties to them, given that O'Reilly's one of the founding general partners of OATV. Our main focus is on stage. We do seed-level stuff. For us, that means typically writing a check about $1 million going to round size, maybe 1.5 to 2. Sometimes it's a little bit more than that. Sometimes it's a check size of 2, leading or co-leading, around to $500. So there's a little bit of play depending on the company and the product. That's typically where we invest and we focus our investments on. We do deep reserve. We have a deep reserve model, meaning if we do decide to invest in a company, we allocate $4 million about per company for follow-ons. Myself personally, I joined about a year ago. Before that, I was a science and engineering guy. I used to work on this field called nanophotonics, and we basically really with small lasers, try to integrate them on the silicon. The idea being, we have all this silicon infrastructure for electronics. Can we leverage that for photonics instead of building brand new infrastructure from scratch? We're Boston originally. Been out here for several years. And thanks for coming.
Thanks to Roger and OATV for hosting everyone. So I guess the first question I have for all of you is, how do you think about defining what a robot is?
Good thought, eh?
I know everyone probably in this room has some sense for what the definition is, but how do you guys define it? Like, I guess let's go in order of the stage at which you invest to talk about what are you looking for in companies and founders at that stage related to that definition. Does that make sense? Sure. Let's go to Eric first, given he does the first stage.
Yeah, I guess I see the founders. So the interesting thing, debating the word robotics could go on forever. It is a bar topic. I think our philosophy, what we look for, we always put the word applied in front of robotics right now. As we know, there are fascinating deep research trends going on in robotics that will fundamentally change the world. The challenge is, can they change a consumer behavior, an enterprise behavior, an industrial behavior in the next number of years? And we tend to focus on those opportunities because those are the ones that we can, at the end of the day, pass downstream and really bring to market. And so we look at things like Kiva as a great example, and UAVs and a number of other areas. And you can break it down market by market, what it's going to do in education and in enterprise and in industrial and those sort of things. But again, we look for early stage. In the earliest companies, you have to rely on the intelligence of the initial founding team. It's all about sort of the people, the product that they're going to build, and we like to talk about the process in which they're going to build it. You can be the smartest engineer in the world, you can have the greatest product idea, but if you can't execute, and so part of execution is learning. It's a growth process, and you need to find people to help you, and that's what I think everybody here at various stages will do. But in the early stages, we really do look for an applied robotics idea where we can see within the event horizon of, measured in a few years, not necessarily 1 year, not even necessarily 2 years, the event horizon of 3 to 5 years that it can have a material impact on somebody's business. And then that has an amplification over time. There's the classic, what is the beachhead customer? Longer term, mainstream, but my job is to get you to the beachhead and help you land the boat. And then again, downstream, there are great partners who step in for growth and to really continue that voyage. That was great.
Yeah, you guys probably heard this saying from it. I think it's really true. Robot is no longer one robot once it's working really good, but robot code is just a robot, right? And I think I do describe that. So yeah, I think there's just this notion of automating that otherwise manual. I think something I've been thinking about recently has just been something like a calculator, right? A calculator is an interesting study because a calculator basically removes these to calculate something at a high level of abstraction. So the difference in that and what you typically think of as robotics is it's all digital, right? And I think what's interesting now is we're seeing that kind of automation, that kind of thinking spilling over to the physical world. I think that's what people think of as robotics and whatnot. But at the end of the day, I just think it's this notion of automating away things that create higher levels of abstraction that we can work on.
assume because it's just relative. It's like, why don't you just analyze first principles? Tell me why this opportunity is going to work, irrespective of timing in comparison with others. But I think timing is an indicator of other.
Yeah. I'll jump in. Start. I think I agree with Roger. I think there are a couple reasons. I don't know if my reasons are some reasons this is, but for one, or from a venture perspective, they weren't huge acquisitions, right? So they weren't successful financial outcomes for investors. Maybe potentially personally decent financial outcomes for founders, but even then, maybe not great, right? Especially not a lot of the expectations when this company was first created. That's one. The other is, well, by all accounts, Google was a great place to work, but